I started talking about this Rabbi Hanan, and I wanted to go into it more clearly. It's extremely important, extremely fundamental, I think, to not just to understanding the Nefesh HaChaim and the union of machshava, but understanding Yiddishkeit b'chlal. So let's do this carefully. I wish everybody had a copy, but you don't. So, Chasav, says the Mesilas Yesharim, Maimer al teshuva. It says in Kovetz Maimarim, page Chaf Gimel, and it's called Maimer al teshuva. And he starts off with the following: Chasav the Mesilas Yesharim Parak Dalet. It's wonderful how he uses the Mesilas Yesharim as a Sefer Yisod. And he says as follows. This is the language of the Mesilas Yesharim. L'fishuris hadin mamish hayaroi shloya tikun l'chet klal. If you would use din, by din here he means what's right and what's wrong, what's logical, what's not logical. Din means if you would just go with din, like the way it's supposed to be, there would never be a way to get out of a chet once you've done the chet. You did it, you did it. Fartik. Kihine, once you've done something wrong, how are you supposed to undo it? You already did a chet. Hooray, let's say you murder somebody. Random example. Hooray shanaf, let's say you had an affair. How are you supposed to fix it by doing teshuva? Can you say that? Can you undo what you've already done? Says the Mesilas Yesharim. So logic says, and din says, to use his language, that you can't undo something that was already done. You swallowed poison, you swallowed poison. You do teshuva, you have charata. It doesn't mean anything, really. You swallow treif, you swallow treif. Says Mesilas Yesharim, Amnam midas harachamim hi anosenas. It's only the rachamim of Hashem, special chesed from Hashem, so like a miracle happens, that somehow by doing teshuva, you can undo that which you've done. Shat teshuva tinasin l'chaytim chesed gamor. Teshuva was given to those that sin with chesed gamor, shetechashev akiras haratzain k'akiras hamaisa. And what happens with teshuva is that akiras haratzin, this is the key phrase to memorize. Teshuva accomplishes, says the Mesilas Yesharim, that akiras haratzin is ka'akiras hamaisa. That by undoing what you wanted to do, meaning you regret it, akiras haratzin is akiras hamaisa. So what's he saying? The teshuva is I wanted to kill somebody, and I killed something. Two things happen. I wanted to kill somebody, and I killed somebody. So we understand that teshuva can take away my ratzin. I don't know where my head was. I really didn't want to kill him. I should have not wanted to kill him. Whatever. I have akiras haratzin. And that, says Hashem, is akiras hamaisa. That undoes the actual killing on some level. Not on every level, because Beis Din will still kill you. So it's not on every level, but at least in Shemayim. Ad kan l'shoina. So that's the Mesilas Yesharim's hesper. Says Rabbi Chanan Wasser, so we can learn from here. Shemitzad hadin charata edo ikeres habayisa. We see that in lumdus, charata does not undo a baisa. It's only lifnei b'shur sadiv, a special chesed by teshuva, right? But bidadin chesed, that a charata does not accomplish akiras habayis. Everybody with me? It's very important that you're with me. You with me on this? Right?
What's charata?
Charata is when you regret something. So charata does not accomplish. You see from the Mesilas Yesharim that except for the special chesed of teshuva, there's minadin charata, whatever you have charata on, doesn't accomplish akiras habayis. Forget about mitzvahs and averos, right? I have charata that I invested in this and this property. Okay, you had charata, but you still invested in that property. So charata does not accomplish the akir sabaisa. Teshuva is a special din that in Shamayim somehow charata can do akir sabaisa, but that's only teshuva. If not for the idea of teshuva, charata does not undo what you've done. You can't undo what you've done. Makes perfect sense to me. Right? Makes perfect sense that that's before you should have been Shishar. So he says, if that's the case, and it does make perfect sense, I have a kasha. Because it says at the end of the first chapter of Kiddushin, I'm going to say it's daf mem or mem aleph hamud beis. Afilu tzadik gamer kol yamav. This is a member of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, by the way. Reb Shimon, you know what? Why guess? Let's be good scholars here. Just about the last Gemara, the end of the first chapter of Kiddushin. And here it says, Mem Amud Beis. Reb Shimon ben Yochai Omer, the Holy One, right? Shimon Bar Yochai says, Afilu tzadik gomer kol yamav, person acts as a tzaddik all of his life. Umarad ba'achreina, and at the end of his life, he rebels against Hashem. Says Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Ibeid es harishonos, you've lost credit for everything that you've ever done. Crazy, no? We always hear stories about people that did teshuva on their deathbed. The person at his deathbed, the whole thing was stupid, I shouldn't have done it. Ridiculous, I wasted my life with this religion. So says Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, I wonder who he was thinking about.
Reb
Shimon Bar Yochai.
I know.
Ibeid es harishonos, he loses everything. Shenemar tzidkas hatzadik loy satzilenu b'yoim pishay. It's a pasuk in Yecheskel that says tzidkas hatzadik, the righteousness of a tzaddik, meaning the tzaddik that's doing righteousness all of his life. Loy satzilenu b'yoim pishay does not help you b'yoim pishay on the day of your death or the day that you're poshay and you say, I wish I didn't do any of that. Parenthetically, I find it interesting that Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen named his magnum opus book Tzidkas HaTzadik, because the pasuk of Tzidkas HaTzadik says that Tzidkas HaTzadik is worthless if you were married beyond Pisha, which of course he didn't do. And then Rav Shimon Bar Yochai continues, and he says, "Va'afilu," the converse is also true. Hafilu Rasha Gamer Kol Yamav, person is a Rasha all of his life. V'asa teshuva b'achrein, and here he is on his deathbed and he does teshuva. Ein maskirin loy shum resha. Nothing is mentioned about his evil life. Shenemar, because it says in the same pasuk in Yecheskel, v'rishas harasha lo yikashel ba b'yom shuvay mirishai. So what do we see from this? First of all, what we see is just I got something that we never think about. That how do we know that you can do teshuva on your deathbed? Because a person can have charata for all of his mitzvahs on his deathbed, and that erases everything good I did. So you could say, Kal v'chomer, if I do teshuva on my deathbed, that erases all the good that I've done. The machayev of being able to do teshuva b'yoyim maisai is that you can become a rasha b'yoyim maisai. That's the ikar din. So Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is saying what? Let's just analyze it for a second. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is saying that everything goes by
the end.
the end. Hakol hoylech acharasai.
What is that name of it?
Mem Amud Beis and Kiddushin, also in regular Gemara. That's the din of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. It's a startling din. It's madhim. That's din when you think about it. It's a startling din. Frank the Gemara on Rav Shimon Bar Yochai that v'nihave kemechsa vaynos umechsa schuyos, give the guy a break. he did mitzvahs all his life. At the end of his day, the last day of his life, he was in a bad mood. And he says, what?
Just a bad mood the last day of your life.
That's right, he messed up everything. Tzaddik, he saved lives, he gave tzedakah to thousands of people, saved families. But at the end, he put his life on the line for Klal Yisrael and for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And at the end, they're about to kill him, and he says this whole thing was stupid. What did I do this for? Giving up my life? What am I stupid?
Does he blow it then?
He blows it. That's what we just learned. That's exactly what we just learned. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says, "Ki'ilu, you didn't do anything. All your good will not save you beyond pisha." And on the other hand, the guy who's been a rasha all of his life, and at the end of the day, he says, I really have charata for all of that. Menashe. Usually, like Hordus was a horrible guy. He killed everybody, killed Talmidei Chachamim, and then he did teshuva. He built the Beis HaMikdash. So we like Hordus, right? Herod, Meshuggah. But we like him. We like Meshuggahs. Just look what's going on. We like them. Yeah. No, but I was saying, if Hordus would have been Mahapach the Seder, and he would have built the Beis HaMikdash for most of his life, and at the end would have had an attack of Hordism, and he would have started killing people. So then we give him no credit for building the Beis HaMikdash at all. Hakol haylech achar hasayf. That's the din of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Frag the Gemara. I don't know why he picks mechsa, but he means probably mechsa. Like, why do you forget? Okay, call him mechsa. Call him that he lived part of his life as a good person, part of his life as a bad person. Give him schar for what he did good, and give him einish for what he did bad. Why do you erase everything? Amar Reish Lakish of all people. Amar Reish Lakish. B'toya al harishonos. We're not talking about a person who was a rasha at the end. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is not talking about a person who was a rasha at the end. We're talking about a person who regretted the mitzvahs that he did. That's different. Toeh. So Rashi, b'toya mischaret al kol hatoiva she'asa. So, in other words, we're not talking about a person who, I'm just going to eat treif before I die. Or I'm going to do this aver that aver before I die. Okay, you're mechsa. Then we don't look at your last day as the defining day of your eternity. But if you are mischaret, if you regret all the good that you've done, that's different. Not just he did a bad. I'm just before I die, I just must have a cheeseburger. Okay, so you get an onus for having a cheeseburger. But if I'm mischaret for keeping kosher my whole life, or even if I'm mischaret for having given away so much money to tzedakah, why'd I do that? So then you lose everything. So, before we learn anything more about this, you see, on Erev Rosh Hashanah, when we say the Hataras Nadarim, Erev Rosh Hashanah, so Shimun HaRabbaisai, we say, I did this, I did that, you said, Eidani Mischaret, what's the lashon there? Eidani Mischaret al HaToiva Sha'asisi. Chas v'shalom. Ani mischaret al shelo yamarti aleihem linah. Okay. You never have, it's built into the lashon. That's what the lashon wants from you over there. Never be mischar for doing something as bad as it may have come out for you. You don't have. It's never worth having charata for something good that you did. I gave too much tzedakah. I made myself broke. I'm ridiculous. What would I do to myself? Don't have charata. You have charata. You lost. At least get the schar.
Has to be bedibor, or is it machshava?
I don't know.
But that's not.
Charata is machshava.
That's not a din. You said before that it's a rachmanas from Hashem, because al pi din it should be that whatever you did, and whatever you didn't do, you didn't do. I mean, whether you did good. But what you're saying now, so teshuva goes retroactively.
That's Rabbi Chanon's kasha.
Right, but it's no right.
That's exactly Rabbi Chanon's kasha.
Because it's not teshuva. This is going the other way. This is charata. So it's right, but that's not teshuva. That's a charata. It's a din. It's a charata.
So Moshe is making a chiluk between charata and
teshuva.
Tshuva.
Charata is part of teshuva.
No, charata.
Part of it, but it's not.
Charata is the thing.
Not
Charata is the thing that's
full
special. They can go back. Charata can go back for good. They can go back for bad.
Charata.
Charata.
It says Torah, by the way, in the Torah. Torah, it says. That's the actual lashon.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, ain't any toya.
Yeah.
Huh? I believe it.
I thought mitzvahs were eternal.
Hmm?
I thought they couldn't be undone.
That's the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara's kasha is, how do you undo mitzvahs? Mitzvahs are eternal. I did what I did. Forget about the eternal. A bigger cut. I helped the family. I put them on their feet. I gave them money. I put them on their feet. I gave them a loan. So what? I mean, I don't get any schar for that at all, just because at the end I have charata. I have charata.
But they're still doing okay.
They're still doing okay.
Yeah, they got the food.
Don't we hear a million stories about, It's very interesting. Like a person, I just want to point out here that, let's say a person is not a religious person. So he does good here or there. Like you do some good. You give some tzedakah. Like everybody knows, this is a schus for them. And this will. We all heard these stories about they're coming to the pearly gates, and but you walk that lady across the street, and because of that, her children became blah blah blah. You hear all these stories. I presume they're true. I don't know. I presume there's some truth to all of that. I got it. So that guy does something, but a guy who's a tzaddik gomer his whole life. Forget about walking a lady. Tzaddik gomer whole life, and he has 1 day of charot or 1 minute of charot at the end. He blows it all. So it comes out the chiloni is in better shape. I'm not recommending anything. I'm only saying that like you need to understand this din.
Why the das of the chiloni, if you never did Hashem Shemayim, there is a sense of charata built into that person at the end of his life. Who is that person? What's his machshava?
You think?
So therefore, it's in a sense there is a charata because it was never there in the first place.
So you're saying all those eulogies I gave were wrong.
No, but we see even if you
I'm
drop
saying there's
money.
levels dependent on.
He tended the garden of the shul with love. Hey, Zagina.
We see even if you drop money, now he finds it and then you get
Also
fired.
something, even that's better off.
Exactly.
As long as you don't have charata.
Yeah.
Now the guy says, "Wow, I wish I didn't drop that money." So then he messed it up. It's okay. Like whatever the Hesbers, which we're going to learn. Hopefully, we'll understand it by the end of this next 10 minutes. But it's just one thing you see here clearly: don't have charata when you did something good,
Does this apply for Torah?
and have charata when you did something bad.
Does this apply for Torah as well, or only mitzvahs?
Tzidkas hatzadik.
Because by Elisha ben Avuya, that the Torah was dafka, that they couldn't touch him because of the Torah.
Where did you see that?
And the Gemara said because of they didn't know where to put him in, and because of the schus of the limud Torah, then they couldn't put him in Gehenna. But nothing to do with mitzvahs.
You're interpreting a little bit.
That's how I understood the Gemara. Could be
Could be.
wrong, probably wrong. But
That's how he's wrong. That's not what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that the Metatra in Shemayim didn't know what to do with him. Not only because you're saying because he learned a lot of Torah, what are you going to do with that Torah? So did Rishayim learn a lot of Torah. That's not the point. The point is he did a lot of good things.
that's also the mitzvahs, not the
Yeah,
Torah.
he did a lot of good things. Acher did a lot of good things.
So we see
He
that
created a Rameir. That's the point. Like he created. If not for Acher, there wouldn't be Rabbi Meir. So if there wouldn't have been Rabbi Meir, there wouldn't have been Torah Shemal Peh, like, as we know it. So we can take it away from him. He did a good thing.
That we see that they couldn't do anything.
Many millions of things. This is against the whole Torah. Everything we learned. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is a pellet. Rabbi Chanan now is asking a stira between this Gemara and the Mesilas Yesharim. Let's just hold cup. So the Mesilas Yesharim says that charata doesn't do anything. Charata doesn't do anything except for the big, generous chesed that Hashem does in Shemayim when we do teshuva, separate din of teshuva. Charata itself does not do anything. So if charata itself does not do anything, the bishleim of the charata, Moshe with me, bishleim of the charata of doing good, charata on avera. So you could say, okay, that's part of teshuva. Okay, maybe that's part of that chesed. But Rabbi Chanan asks her that, what about the charata on davar toiv? Charata on davar toiv undoes all the toiv that we've ever done. So you see clearly that akiras machshava havika akiras ma'isa, right? That's what we see. So clearly, Gemara from Akasha had the Mesilas Yesharim from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So
It's about to fall.
It's going to fall.
Says Rabbi Chanan, Sha'alti davar zeh, I asked this question, mikvod kedushas maran bala Chafetz Chaim Shlit'a. I asked this question of my Rebbe, the Chafetz Chaim Shlit'a. In parentheses it says here, Zatzal. Things happen. Okay.
Can't have it both ways.
Depends when you read the book.
Right.
I should buy all of our names like that every time we you want our mitzvahs to land, the dedications of the building. You write Shlit'a in parentheses. This is for the next generation.
Well, we don't know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
That's we're going to learn.
All right. V'heishiv. So the Chafetz Chaim told me the following. Now, he's arguing with the Chafetz Chaim at the end, but let's just get through the Chafetz Chaim because Chafetz Chaim is the Chafetz Chaim. V'heishiv said the Chafetz Chaim, Shlit'a, de b'tshuva me'ava. Listen carefully because it took me a few times to read this to understand it. De b'tshuva me'ava. We have tshuva me'ava, tshuva me'ira. Let's get our terms correct. Tshuva me'ava is, whoa, I should have been worshiping Hashem. That's what tshuva me'ava is. I really missed the boat on this one. I really should be paying attention to Hashem and Torah. That's tshuva me'ava. I want to do tshuva. I become a Baal tshuva. I realize there's a much better way to live. That's tshuva me'ava. Tshuva me'ira means what? Whoa, I'm
really
going to get hell, fire, and brimstone.
I'm really in trouble.
I'm in trouble. And therefore I do tshuva. What's the difference between the guy who does tshuva me'ava and tshuva me'ira? They're both kind of good people. The difference is that if you would promise this guy that no, you will not get punished.
Yeah.
So then he says, okay, then I'm good with what I did. Whereas the guy who does tshuva me'ava, it doesn't make a difference if I'm getting punished or not. I've gone on a wayward way. That's the important thing here. So tshuva me'ira is in other words, so every mitzvah or every avera, every avera has the ma'isa avera and the consequences of the avera. So the guy with tshuva me'ava is upset about the avera that he did, and the guy with tshuva me'ira is upset about the consequences of that avera. It's important to get this clear.
Consequences as in onish.
Onish, or whatever.
Well, could be.
Onish is the big one.
No, it's not onish. It could be ava again.
Well, that's not consequences, but
I messed up the world. Look at that. I think that's.
I messed up the world, right? The guy who pushed the button there on Hiroshima, so he had charata a second later. With the fact. So was that tshuva, mi'ava, or me'ira? What was that?
Yeah.
Or neither?
Insecurity.
Yours haroimus. What was that?
What, the pilot or the bomber? And
Pilot, yeah.
And the plane?
The pilot, yeah, he went nuts in his tshuva. He was committed to a mental institution afterwards. So it wasn't just the millions of people in Hiroshima that was.
I have to wonder though.
This guy. It seems to me the American public's more worried about this guy than the few million people that he killed. But let's say,
He even knew what he was pushing the button for.
he knew.
Oh, yeah. He knew the power of this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You say the second he pushed the button, he let out an expletive on tape of saying that I should not. Wow, what the? There's nothing to do. You can't bring it back. Nothing to do. So wow, listen. I'm not a Baal Musar, but maybe every Avera is like that. I mean, you pull the trigger. Whoops. What's the? So okay, I have charata. So I'm just is it? How do you want to call it? What is yours? That's not one of the choices. That's not one of the options. It's not one of the options.
No.
I asked, is it true? Let's assume he did tshuva for killing. Now, how many people did he kill?
100,000? 101? I'm told immediately
He
100,000.
killed after the killed.
Keep on going. Yeah.
Yeah.
The button that keeps on pushing here.
The alternative would have been worse.
That was 100.
Historically, you're going to have you do math in your head.
More people would have been killed.
More people would have been killed. A U.S. invasion of Japan, It would have been much worse.
Not by him.
Fishmans.
My father was one of the troops in the Pacific at that time. He would have been in the invasion with thousands of others who may well have been casualties.
Yeah, my father was one of the
Japanese
troops. My father was one of the troops of the invasion. And speaks about it all the time, and somehow or not another was not affected by it. But he could have been.
My
He
father
was right there. It was right there.
My father was ground crew on the 509th bomb group, which were the B-29s that dropped the two bombs.
Well,
He was ground support for them.
all right. We'll argue fathers later. Yeah, but no, this is history. You know, this is what we went through. You know, I mean, I grew up with this. So, in any case, what's important here is that the guy who does tshuva meira is concerned about consequences. I would imagine the guy in the plane was concerned about consequences. He wasn't concerned that, I did some kind of, I went against, something ethical, or
Humanity.
the Ratzon Hashem, or consequences. Like, gosh, look, I killed. Like, it became very real to him. I would imagine. I'm not judging him. I'm just like, I would imagine. So that would fall to me into the category of tshuva meira. Consequences of killing 100,000 people or 1,000,000 people.
90 to 146,000.
Huh? 150,000. Okay.
90 to 146.
Not his consequence, the consequence of what he caused. you mean?
Right. Also consequential. That's why I'm saying to you, Darren, that it's not only about the onesh. Consequences. 100,000 people. One buck. I mean, a different kavanah for sure. So, but he did a better job than Hitler in that sense. You know.
Well, there's the Harita, the fact
By the way,
that
Hitler also had such cheshbonos of doing this for the world, and this is a better thing for the world, and I'm cleaning up the world. I mean, I don't think he was right. I don't think this guy was right either. But he okay, let's not go there because this is not an NCSY. But
the fact that he had Harita, that's if he did something wrong in the Shemayim, it would help.
You think?
Whereas on the other hand,
Okay.
Truman didn't have any regret.
Okay, so good. I'm with you. So Rabbi Haber, so the Chavetz Chaim. Let's get the Chavetz Chaim here for today. And the Chavetz Chaim says like this: there's tshuva me'ava and there's tshuva me'ira. Each one accomplishes something else, and we need to analyze. A tshuva me'ava takes your avera and turns it into a mitzvah. Okay. Not hard to understand. You need to learn a lot of Reb Tzadok to understand how an Aver could do a mitzvah. We know enough about that actually to begin to understand. It's because in the world of Bria, there is no bad and there is no good and evil. There's no good and evil. So tshuva me'ava can go to a place. My tshuva goes to a place, at least in Shemayim, where there is no good and evil. Everything's bashert. It's bashert that this should happen. If I can lift myself up to that level, the world of Bria, so then. It's interesting, I was asked to speak, I think, next week in this kind of a convention on academics speaking about Kabbalah in Ranana. So I was invited to speak at this thing. It was this professor, that professor, and me. So because I wrote a book called Spheros. My initial reaction was, ooh. It's not, first of all, not a makubal, so I could have then I thought either are they. Anyways, I decided to do it because I figured like a little bit of, try to get a little bit of Erlichkeit into the session. That's a good thing. I don't know what the others are going to say. I just know what I'm going to say. But the interesting thing about is that the different effects. The reason I'm mentioning now the different effects that things have in the world of Asiya. You killed 100,000 people. If there was tshuva and charata, then in the world of Bria you did nothing wrong, because if you're standing in the world of Bria, not only you did nothing wrong, you did a good thing, because as Shmuel says, first of all, you may have saved lives. It's a gamzula taiva. Second of all, this was meant to happen. Maybe all those people were chayim misa. Miodea. None of us know, because we live in the world of Asiya. The most you can do, you can calculate a little bit mathematically, but basically you got to crawl up to the world of, get past the malachim in the world of Yitzir, into the world of Bria, to be able to know such a thing and to know what you're accomplishing, what you're not accomplishing, or so that's tshuva. Now, if I do tshuva me'ava, my aver becomes a mitzvah. Says the Chavetz Chaim, that's for sure a chesed Hashem, right? Everyone's going to agree that's not min adin. But the Mesilas Yesharim says that teshuva is not min adin. If he's talking about teshuva me'ava, that's for sure not min adin. Rabbi Chanan, you agree that's loy min hadin. So even the Gemara says, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says that if you have charata on the last day, this is your point, that even though the Gemara says that if you have charata on the last day, it turns everything around, and let's say it erases everything. That might be min adin, that it could erase everything. Charata could erase everything, but that it should turn into a mitzvah is for sure not min adin. So that's the first thing. Then that's what I thought first the Chafetz Chaim said, but then he goes further. Teshuva miyira, let's say you do teshuva miyira. I'm worried about the consequences of my avera. So what happens then? It also works. Eino b'chlal toya al rishonos. That's also not comparable to toa al rishonos, to somebody who regrets. We're not talking about teshuva here at all. A person is mischaret al my averos. I'm not doing teshuva mi'ava. I'm doing teshuva miyira. So the truth is, I don't regret, says the Chafetz Chaim, the bad things that I do. This is a very important point. I just regret them because I'm going to get a punishment for them. Do I actually regret it? No, I had a good time. I regret it because it wasn't worth the punishment. Now, a baskol comes and says, no punishment for you. Okay, I don't regret it anymore. So I'm not, whereas the person, so he's not the to'al rishonos, the other way, the converse. The guy who's regretting all the good that he did, he's certainly not regretting the consequences. What's he regretting? I did good. He's not regretting the oynish because he's not getting an oynish. He's not regretting that he's getting schar because he wants schar. So what's he regretting? It was stupid. I shouldn't have given away my money. So that guy is completely different than the guy who does teshuva.
Yeah.
Guy does teshuva me'ava, so he regrets mamish the ma'isa. A guy who does teshuva me'ira doesn't regret the ma'isa at all. A guy who's toyal rishonos, he's regretting the ma'isa. So he's the converse of what? Of the person who's doing teshuva me'ava. One more time. I want you to really understand this. The guy who's doing teshuva, I need another one of those whiteboards. A guy who's doing teshuva me'ava regrets the bad things that he did. A guy who's toyal rishonos regrets the good things that he did. The guy who's doing teshuva me'ira doesn't regret anything. He just doesn't want to get an onesh. There's no charata there, per se. Might be charata, but it's charata because I don't like the consequences that I did. Right? Such is life. So you never regret the maisa, maybe the consequences you could regret. I regret that I became poor. I regret that I didn't understand more Torah, and I know I shouldn't have given out so much. There's a lot of things you regret. But you don't regret the actual maisa. Says the Chafetz Chaim, so I understand the Mesilas Yesharim perfectly. What is the Mesilas Yesharim talking about? He can't be talking about teshuva me'ira because that's not talking about a guy who regrets any maisa. He must be talking about teshuva me'ava. So he's talking about teshuva me'ava, so there he says that it's a chesed. So now, what was Rabbi Chanan's kasha? That the chesed is that the avera should become kischuyas. So he says, but that I can erase a maisa, toyal or rishonos, that I can erase a good maisa, not turn it into something bad, just erase. So that could be min adin. Mm-hmm. Because the Mesilas Yesharim must only be talking about teshuva me'ava. So now he's talking about teshuva me'ava, you're talking about a new case of toyal or rishonos, has nothing to do with teshuva me'ava. Or teshuva, that's right. Because teshuva me'ava is turning averos into mitzvahs. We're not talking about that. Maybe he's talking about teshuva me'ira. Are you following me? Maybe he's talking about teshuva me'ira. No, there is no charat at all. Nimsa lefi divrei Rabbeinu. So to finish Chafetz Chaim, the teshuva me'ava ikeres hazachet. The fact, this is the upshot of the whole thing. That teshuva me'ava undoes a chet hu mitzad hadin. That the Mesilas Yesharim is also agreeing that charata is oker amaisa. The teshuva me'ava vadai hu toyal rishonos. a person does teshuva b'ahava is toeh ala rishonos. But there's a special chesed to teshuva b'ahava that what not only does it erase, but it adds. Right? So that's a beautiful answer to Chafetz Chaim. Says Rabbi Chanan, Elo milashim mesilas yesharim l'mashmakein. That's not what the Mesilas Yesharim says. Okay, I'm going to leave that because Rabbi Chanan's answer is also profound and fits into the Mesilas Yesharim. But just the Chafetz Chaim, whatever it is, it's true that the Reb Shimon Bar Yochai here is talking about the comparison of Toah Rishonos to a person who regrets his mischarit on mitzvahs, a person who regrets mischarit al averos, and in both cases it erases them. The Mesilas Yesharim is talking about the special chesed of Hashem that when you regret averos, okay, so when you regret mitzvahs, you lost the mitzvahs. They don't become averos, so you just lost the mitzvahs. When you regret averos, they actually become mitzvahs. That's what the Mesilas Yesharim is talking about with the chesed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hope that's clear. Thank you.
No problem.